Bleeds are one of the most mysterious status effects in all of Marvel Strike Force, and in this video, we are talking all about that, how they're calculated and everything, so you can make the most out of your roster. Let's go!
Valley Fire.
Hey, what's up all you Valley Maniacs? Valley Flying here. I am back. Welcome to the channel, and in this video we are talking about the status effect known as Bleed. Now, I did a status effect video a while back, but I left it kind of vague when I was talking about bleeds because there was a lot of ambiguity in the description in game. Wasn't really sure how exactly it was calculated, but we are going into detail in this video so you can maximize how you use bleeds in game, maximize the damage, make it more effective for your battles. Before we get into that, I am playing on Bluestacks 4, so make sure you check that out if you want to play Marvel Strike Force on your PC. There is a link in the description down there. It's an affiliate link, so the channel gets credit and you get to play on your PC. Win-win for everybody. All right, so who has bleeds? Let's go and look. So I went through msf.gg and went through every character. Hopefully I didn't miss any, but the characters that I noticed when I did that initial run through, first one up that I noticed, Black Widow. She is the queen of bleed. She has a bleed on her ultimate. Vision also has a bleed on his basic, but only to tech characters. He also has a bleed on his ultimate, but only if Scarlet Witch is one of his allies. We also have Deadpool. He can apply bleeds, but only to minion characters. Winter Soldier has a bleed. Wolverine has a bleed on every single one of his skills, but only if he crits. Who else do we got? We got Elektra with a bleed on her basic. Venom has a bleed on 2 of his skills. Very, very strong. And then we got Aim Assaulter all the way down here. I have not built Aim Assaulter very much, but Aim Assaulter has a bleed as well. Then we got some characters that can do apply some random effects, which can include bleed. And they're Doctor Strange, Mordo, Scarlet Witch, Scientist Supreme. And then we got a upcoming character that we had rumored in a data mine, Pyro. The word on the street is that Pyro can apply bleed to all characters with an AoE attack. So pairing him maybe with Scarlet Witch might be a very, very good thing to extend all of those bleeds. So what exactly are bleeds? Let's take a look at what the in-game description says. It is pretty vague. Take damage equal to a % of the source character's damage each turn. So this percentage, very, very unclear. Wasn't sure exactly what it was. For some reason, I thought it was 10%, which is pretty low, but it's actually a lot more than that. And luckily, someone figured it all out on Reddit. I saw this post. I had to make a video, so I reached out to Miss Invalid, asked if I could do this post and do this video on this post. And I will leave a link to this post in the description down below because it's very, very in depth. I'm going to be covering it in this video. Now, I haven't tested any of this stuff on my own, but based on the comments that Miss Invalid left and some of the things that was said in DM, I think this is 100% accurate. I think a lot of extensive research was done for this post. So thank you, Miss Invalid, for doing all this research, and very good for the community that we have this info now. Not sure why it was such a complicated and mysterious formula before. All right, so the formula right here. Basically, this is how bleeds work. You get the character's base damage, so the character that applies the bleed, and then you multiply it by this damage scaling, and it is based on the ability level. Like I said, for some reason I thought it was a static number, but it actually goes up based on how far you have that skill leveled. So at level 1, 45% goes up to 65%, 80%, 100%, 115%, and 135 of the base character's damage at level 6. And if you are lucky enough to spend orange mats to build up that ability all the way, you will get 150% damage, 150% of the base of the initial character's base damage, and that'll be how much damage gets taken by the enemy. All right, so that is basically how it works, but there are some other interactions that that do affect how bleed works. The first is offense up and offense down. And because this was such a good job describing it, let me just read this. All right, offense up, offense downs do affect bleed damage. they must be present on the character that inflicts this damage when the bleed gets applied to the enemy. So you multiply 1.5 by this base number if it's offense up, and you divide it in half. So multiply by 0.5 to figure out what the new damage scaling level is. And so if you are at level 6, for example, you multiply that by 1.5, the new scaling level comes to 202.5%. So that could be some huge damage, especially if you have a big stack of bleeds. And then if you have offense down, that level 6 goes from 135% to 67.5%. So reducing it by a lot. All right, so defense up, defense down, and armor do not affect bleeds at all. Interesting thing about armor, though, if you're going against a character that has a high amount of armor, like a Luke Cage, bleeds will affect him. I know bleeds should not affect him, but in his kit right now, it does. But so that is a interesting way that you might be able to maximize the damage, especially against a tank or someone that has a really high armor that might be difficult for some of your characters to get through. All right, versus heal versus regen and heal passive. The one that does this that I know of is Deadpool, mentioned specifically in this post. If we go to Deadpool's kit, let's read this skill. Merc with a mouth at level 5. So this is maxed out. On turn, clear all negative effects from self. Heal 15% of max health per negative effect. So if the bleed does not kill Deadpool, he actually will benefit from having a bleed applied to him. But if the bleed does do enough damage to kill him, Deadpool, gone. So that is how it works for him. It is stackable. A target can have multiple stacks of bleeds caused by different inflictors that deal a sum total of different bleeds amount. So if you have a bunch of bleeds and different characters at different times with offense down, each bleed will do a different amount of damage. Applying and resisting multi-bleeds, abilities that involve inflicting multiple stacks of bleed. Each stack of bleed are individually put through the focus resistance algorithm. So bleeds can be resisted if the character is not, if the inflicting character does not have enough focus. So you might not always see them applied. One character that he mentions is Venom. Venom has a very low focus if Spider-Man is not on the team. What it is mentioned later that Venom has a pretty decent focus amount, but that amount is calculated as if Spider-Man is on a team. It's not the true focus amount. So Venom has a bunch of bleeds, but might not be able to apply them because his focus is very low. All right, spreading bleed. Spreading bleed does not spread the original bleed. Spreading bleed generates a brand new bleed based on the new inflictor's base damage and ability level, and if they have offense up or offense down. So Venom, he could spread bleeds, but his damage scaling is normal because he spreads it with an ability. Scarlet Witch also can spread negative effects, including bleed, but hers is based on her passive ability, Power of Chthon. I think that's how it's pronounced. So on turn, she has a 50% chance to spread a negative effect, and this is at max level. She has a 50% chance to spread a negative effect from an enemy to with a negative effect to an adjacent target. So yeah, as far as her, the level 4, it is scaled at 135%. I'm not sure if anybody really has this at level 5 yet, just because orange ability mats are so rare. So I'm not sure if this can be tested yet. Maybe it goes up to 150%, same as level 7, but we'll have to see. And if anybody knows this, please leave this in the comments down below. All right, prolonging bleeds simply increases the duration of the original existing bleed. It'll still be based on the original inflictor's base damage and ability level, offense up, offense down, and all that stuff. It is not the character that is prolonging the bleeds. The prolonged bleed will do the exact same damage for each of its turns. So prolonging bleed, same as the original attacker. When you spread bleeds, it's a brand new bleed based on that. And there is a weird thing going on with Black Widow. Her damage seems to be a little higher. Her damage scaling seems to be a little higher. Her damage at level 6, 141.75 instead of the normal 135 like the rest of the characters. Offense up, her bleed does 209.2%, not the normal 202.5%. Not sure why this is. Maybe it's spaghetti, which is some weird thing in the code, or maybe it's something that's supposed to be there. And Miss Invalid asked me to talk about this last one. This doesn't have anything to do with bleed, but wanted me to mention that Venom speed needs to be fixed, increasing it from 93 to 108 or 106, just making him a much better character because he could get his turn off a lot sooner, sooner than certain characters that he can't. All right, so that is it about bleeds, guys. I hope this video helps you. Once again, thank you to Miss Invalid for putting this together, doing all the research. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope it helps you with the game. Now, I do have a channel on fitness called Professionally Strong. There is a link to that down below if you want to get in shape, if you want to work out. Been training and personal training for a long time now, so a lot of information on that. Check out that channel. If you like this video, subscribe to this channel because I do a lot of videos on Marvel Strike Force all the time. And if you liked it, please subscribe. Smash on that like button. Click on the notification bell. Discord, if you want to join the community. There's a link for that in the description as well. I will see you next time. I have one question for you, though. What you gonna do, brother, when Valley Flying and all the Valley Maniacs come down on you, dude? Valley Flying. Out.